Imagine knowing exactly which leads are gonna buy your product before you even speak to them. Well, that can be a reality. The secret? Quite simple, implementing a proper lead scoring system that predicts buyers. I have personally used this system to generate multi-8 figures from it. And in today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly how you can take advantage of this 6-step system that has been battle tested across hundreds of thousands of leads and millions of dollars in ad spend. Now, in today's video, I'm gonna show you what lead scoring really is and why 90% of businesses simply get it wrong. My 6-step process for building a data-driven scoring system from scratch, how you can install this into your business to start benefiting from it immediately. Now let's talk about what is lead scoring. Lead scoring is a systematic way to identify which leads are most likely to convert into customers. Rather than just treating every lead equally, you assign points based on certain characteristics or behaviors that actually correlate with buying. I mean, think about it this way. If you knew exactly which traits made someone 5 times more likely to buy from you, well then in that case, wouldn't you want to focus your sales team's attention on those leads first, as well as optimize your ad campaigns to find more people like that and tailor your message to address their specific situation. That is exactly what lead scoring allows you to do. Lead scoring is an age-old marketing principle used across many different industries and businesses. However, it's bizarre to me how the InfoProg business has never given it any thought. And that is what I want to break down today. So step number 1, building your lead scoring system step by step. Step number 1 is creating your lead capture funnel. Now with this step, a simple landing page that collects basic information, so name, email, phone number. And then step number 2 is crucial, a survey page that asks more detailed qualifying questions. Lastly, we have a prompt to join a WhatsApp group for ongoing communication. So this is our personal cadence. Now it's crucial not to ask too many questions up front, otherwise your completion rate will tank. But by splitting it into 2 steps, you get both high opt-in rates as well as valuable qualification data. Now in our system, we use Typeform for the survey, but you can use whatever survey tool you are comfortable with. What's more important is that your survey tool allows you to use hidden fields as well as logic jumps, which is something that we're going to touch on later when we actually implement the scoring system. Our data shows that with this 2-step approach, about 90% of people who opt in will actually complete the survey. That is a massive completion rate, which means that you are getting valuable data from almost all of your leads. If you have watched any of my events, you will know that we always give away workbooks, in-depth guides, free resources. Now, including these things as a lead magnet contributes to the high completion rates, as we promise a lead magnet after the survey is completed. Step number 2 is design your survey questions. For your survey, you need to think carefully about what questions might predict someone's likelihood to buy. The first time you do this, you need to make educated guesses. This is because you don't have historical data to know which factors actually predict buying behavior for your specific offer yet. Now, you need to run at least 1 campaign to collect that data, which is why this first round is all about making your best assumptions based on logical factors. Think about factors that will logically indicate a higher quality prospect for your specific business. Now, based on our experience running countless events, the most important questions to include are age range, current income, and you want to use ranges appropriate for your market, amount of money saved. Now this is different from income, and it's a very important distinction because someone may not have a high income but could have a large amount in their savings. Next is previous experience with similar products or services. Have they purchased a digital product before, for example? Next is country or location. Now we found that these factors are the strongest predictors of buying behavior. For example, in our case, people who have purchased online programs before convert at a much higher rate than those who have never purchased any digital products online before. I mean, you can literally see right here, conversion rate almost triples based on people who have bought digital programs before versus people who have not. That is a massive difference, but when you think about it, it's very logical. So when we understand these questions, then we truly get a better understanding of the quality of our leads. Step number 3 is run your campaign and analyze conversion data. Once you have your funnel and survey questions set up, you now need to run your campaign and drive leads through the funnel to see which ones actually buy your offer, okay? Now, it's very important that you make sure you're tracking who converts into a customer. For your first time doing this, at the end of the day, you are working blind. You don't have data yet on which leads are better, so you're really treating everyone more or less the same. But you are collecting the gold that will make your future campaigns hit different. And you'll see as we go through the steps how everything connects together for you to be able to attract qualified buyers. Now, after your lead capture period is complete, you need to see which survey answers actually predicted purchases. And we do all of this using Looker Studio. Looker Studio is a no-cost tool that turns your data into informative, easy to read, easy to share, and fully customizable dashboards and reports. We use it to create interactive dashboards that show us exactly how each answer correlates with buyer behavior. You can see in this screenshot how we've set up our dashboards to track conversions across different lead categories. Now, the only reason we use Looker Studio instead of Google Sheets is because Google Sheets actually crashes because we collect that many leads. We literally get hundreds of thousands of leads every single time we run an event. So in your case, if you think this is too complicated, you can just use Google Sheets. But if you're collecting more than 100,000 leads, then in my opinion, you should definitely look at Looker Studio instead. So basically, what we do is we match up our survey data with our customer data using a BigQuery to see which answer correlates with purchases. Listen, you need to understand, you're not going to learn this anywhere else. This isn't some rehashed strategy from a marketing textbook. My head of marketing, Vitor, has spent years and millions of dollars in ad spend figuring this out through pure trial and error. We have had to spend millions of dollars in ads to perfect this system. I am dead serious when I say that we are the only ones who can teach you this properly. In the last 3 years, between all of our events, we have had about 4 million leads. That is insane. That's 4 million people that gave us our information, submitted surveys. We probably have more data than anyone else in this info game. So moving on, let me break down a real example from one of our events. For the age question, 56,000 people said they were 18 to 20 years old, and only 340 of them bought. That is a conversion rate of just 0.62%. Meanwhile, 15,000 people said they were between 24 and 26 years old, but a much higher percentage of them actually bought at 1.07%. So even though we captured way more leads in the 18 to 20 bracket, the people in their mid-20s were much more likely to pull out their credit cards. Now, when you look at your data this way, the patterns start to jump out. You're gonna see that some answers consistently predict buying behavior, while others just don't really make that much of a difference. So focus on what actually moves the needle. Step 4 is calculate conversion differences and create your scoring system. So now all that we're really doing is turning raw data into a system that predicts who's actually gonna buy your stuff. It's really not that complicated. So here's what we do. First, we find your average conversion rate. Number 2 is we see which answers convert better or worse than average. And then number 3 is we turn those differences into points. So let's say, for example, on our events, our average conversion rate is 0.75%. It's actually higher. I know it's above 1%. I know that's not accurate. I think the blended average it's definitely above 1%, definitely less than 1.5%, so somewhere in that range. But let's just say as an example, 0.75%. Now, when we dig into previous purchase history of the following question, have you ever bought digital products, programs, courses before? We can see the people who have purchased digital products convert at 1.63%, and that is 88% above average. Whereas people who have never purchased digital products before convert at just 0.55%, and that's 0.19% below average. This is telling us something obvious but important. Someone who has already bought digital products online is 3 times more likely to pull the trigger and buy your offer. So in our scoring system, we give points to someone who has purchased digital products before, and we give minus points to someone who has never purchased a digital product before. All of these points add up to one score that predicts how likely they are to buy. Then what we do is we use these conversion rate differences to create our scoring system. The simplest approach is to directly use the percentage difference as a point value. Once you've run your first campaign and analyze which answers actually predict buying behavior, you can set up your type form with all of the scores pre-built into it. You can create a hidden field called score that starts at 0, and then you add or subtract points based on how people answer each question. For example, in your type form, you would set it up like this. For the question, how old are you? If they select 18 to 20, you subtract 38 points from them. Whereas if they select 24 to 26, you add 78 points to the score. For the question, how much money do you have saved? If they select 15 to 30K, you add 88 points to the score. If they select less than 5K, well then you subtract 45 points from the score. For the question, have you purchased an online course before? If they select yes, you add 50 points to the score. If they select no, you subtract 45 points from the score. So once again, these are examples. I'm not saying you actually do this, but just to give you an idea. And we get these specific points from our conversion rate differences data from previous events, which we track on Looker Studio. Now I've gone ahead and squared them off in red on the images, so that way you can see exactly where some of these numbers are coming from. So for you, it's gonna be a totally different story. I'm just using data from one of our old events just to give you some context. So the real benefit of this is the next time you run an event or a funnel, leads come in already scored. You don't have to wait until after the campaign to figure out who's worth your time. You know instantly when they hit submit. And this leads us perfectly into our next step. Step 5 is define your lead categories. So now you need to actually sort your leads into quality categories. The way we do this is by separating them into 4 categories. So MQL stands for Marketing Qualified Lead. Based on the type form response, leads accumulate points. Remember, these points are pulled directly from the conversion rate difference that we analyzed in our Looker Studio data. They're not just random numbers here. Then what we do is that we actually split the entire score range into 4 different categories. So if someone scores in the top quarter, well then they're in MQLA. If someone scores in the bottom quarter, well then they're in MQLD. And what this allows you to do is know exactly what type of prospect you're attracting with your campaigns before even speaking to your team. This gives you a massive advantage because you basically know who's going to be your customer and who isn't before you even pitch them. You can literally predict how many customers you're going to get before you even launch. And the best part is that you can use this data and create custom events on Facebook to make sure that you're only targeting MQLA leads and collecting as many of those A leads on Facebook as possible, which brings us on to the last step, which is connecting your lead scores to ad platforms. You see, this is where everything truly comes together so beautifully because it creates a marketing system that consistently gets better and better. What we do here is we send our lead scores back to Facebook as a custom event. This way, we are only targeting A leads with our campaign. This system is so good that in our last event, we actually collected over 50% A leads. And listen, the results showed because we made over 8 figures in profit. Not revenue, not contracted value or this or that. No, cold, hard cash, 8 figures in profit. And the best part about this all is that it creates a virtuous cycle. Better leads mean better conversion rates. Better conversion rates mean better campaigns at the next event, which means more profit overall. So to conclude, this is the exact system we use to generate 8 figures from our events by targeting only the leads that matter. Instead of wasting money on tire kickers, you now have a precision targeting system that gets sharper with every campaign you run. And remember that this works for simple book a call funnels as well as events. The principles here are the exact same. Identify which lead characteristics predict buying behavior, score your leads accordingly, and optimize your targeting around your best leads. So listen, if you are an info business owner making $250K a year plus, you have a huge opportunity in taking advantage of lead scoring. So listen, if you want help implementing these systems and literally installing these systems into your business by not only myself, as well as my C-suite team, we are the #1 experts in the world right now when it comes to the info product space. My info product business has grown in profit 8 years consecutively in a row. No one can say that. And not only am I the co-owner in WAP, I hold the 1 hour, 24 hour, 7-day, and 30-day record on WAP. And in fact, the 30-day record in WAP, I broke in 48 hours and 19 minutes. So I guess you could say that my team and I know a thing or two about the info product space. So if you want our help, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link below for you to book a demo call with my team. This lead scoring system you saw here today, this is one of almost 60 systems that we install into your business as a private client of 8FL. 8FL is very simple. It is a 6-month working relationship. You get to install all of our systems, have the best training program in the world to go through. You have a one-on-one call with me and then 6 months of implementation with my C-suite through the coaching sessions. So I'll go ahead and leave a link below to apply. And with that said, as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.